Okay, so explaining the empirical rule here, the most important thing to note in the question is that it will say that is a symmetrical bell-shaped frequency distribution. If the question says symmetrical bell-shaped, you know that you have to use the empirical rule. Okay, so important things to remember in the empirical rule: if they give you 68%, that corresponds to your mean plus or minus 1 standard deviation. So 95% corresponds to your mean plus or minus 2 standard deviations. If it's 99.7% or almost all values, it corresponds to your mean plus or minus 3 standard deviations. Okay, so say if I gave you a question that said your mean is 600 and your standard deviation is 24. If I asked you about 68% of these values are between what two amounts, basically you're going to look at the first formula there. It's your mean plus or minus 1 standard deviation. So your lower limit is 600 minus 1 standard deviation, which is just going to equal to 576. Your upper limit is 600 plus 1 standard deviation, which is 624. So you can say that 68% of these values lie between 576 and 624. Okay, similarly, if they asked us about 95% of the values lie between what two amounts, again, we know 95% corresponds to our mean plus or minus 2 standard deviations. Our lower limit is going to be 600 minus 2 standard deviations, which is going to give us our upper limit is 600 plus 2 standard deviations, which is going to give us 648. Okay, so we can say 95% of the values lie between 552 and 648. Okay, the last possible thing that they can ask us is almost all or 99%, 99.7% of the values lie between what two numbers. So again, 99.7% corresponds to mean plus or minus 3 standard deviations. So we know our lower limit is 600 minus 3 times 24. Our upper limit 600 plus 3 times 24. That equals to 528. That equals to 672. So we know that 99.7% or almost all values lie between 528 and 672.